and they both have just ridiculous damage potential. And originally, I thought this would just be an absolute destruction because we saw Minigun against Maker in the group stages, and both games Maker tried to do cheesy stuff, Hellbat drop or a 2-Rax play, and Minigun just went Mothership Core expansion, slapped everything away, and then went and killed him. I kind of thought that was what was going to happen again, but apparently Drunken Boy can pull out macro games when necessary, so he may surprise us all and actually put up a fight here.
Yeah, I'm interested to see whether or not he breaks out macro game here against Minigun, or whether that's just the TVZ thing for him. Drunken Boy did, of course, play straight-up TVT against Neeb, and then we saw some really, really good play against... Who was it? I've actually completely forgotten. Yes, it goes to User, which, you know, it's pretty surprising he was able to pull that out. So, I'm intrigued. I don't know what to expect here from Drunken Boy from FXO here, the lone FXO America representative here in this tournament, looking to take down one of the 5,000 root players that somehow qualified. But we are about ready to get started, and it's going to be Accolon Wastes to open us up here.
Yeah, I think this is a great map for Minigun here. I think it really plays to the defensive style that I expect from him. I would definitely give an edge to him here. But again, this is all just based on my knowledge of Drunken Boy's play. And if it turns out he's actually a macro god who's just been hiding behind the one-base Hellion plays, then maybe it'll go in his favor.
Well, this is unusual. So we saw a little bit of an impromptu race switch there from Minigun, who I believe accidentally picked Terran, which was probably not the best idea, so I think we will have to remake that. It could have been a map bug, but I was like, hang on a second, how on earth did... Oh, dear. But, alright, we'll be remaking. I don't know, now's probably not the time to race switch Minigun. There's a lot on the line here.
I don't know, he saw the Terran player in the last matchup making those Hellbats, and he was kind of jealous, so he wanted some of his own.
I couldn't blame him, honestly. If I recall correctly, wasn't Minigun a pretty good Zerg off racer? Relatively speaking.
I thought Terran was always his go-to off race. But I know he plays all three races at least decently, but I thought Terran was his next best.
Huh, alright. Well, we'll be going back into that. Needless to say, that was not intended, but we should be back into the game as quickly as possible there. Again, could have been a map bug, very much so, or could have simply been a slip-up there by Minigun, but... Accolon Wastes, I think... we saw Drunken Boy play on Accolon Wastes. It was definitely that very big macro style there. I'm pretty sure we saw Minigun play Maker on there, and Minigun, as you accurately pointed out, in the first series against Maker, just absolutely destroyed him. It was not even close. And then he ended up having a rematch, and Maker actually almost beat him, but it was by playing a more solid macro style and not by playing the more cheesy openings.
I didn't realize they played twice. I only saw the first match where, on the Accolon Waste, that map, he opened up with Hellbat drop, Minigun defended it perfectly, then just kind of sat back and waited for that high-tech army, and just absolutely obliterated Maker.
Yep, that was exactly what happened. So we'll see if Drunken Boy tries to do the same kind of thing. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw drops. So Drunken Boy is very drop heavy, I've got to say. He does play solid macro, 3, maybe even 4 bases, but he does drop a lot. So maybe he makes the same mistake. It doesn't seem like Minigun is that vulnerable to Hellbat drops, but I guess there's no player that's impervious to them.
No, not really. It's just a good harassment to mix in. The only thing is, Minigun really seems to prefer to open Colossus and then switch into Templar, and Hellbats are much, much, much worse against Colossus. They basically just become meat shields. Because the thing is, when you go Colossus, you have to go Stalker to defend the Colossus against the Vikings, so you don't have nearly as many Zealots. So the Hellbats just kind of sit there, and they do tank pretty well, but without that additional DPS, they're barely worth the investment. So I'm not sure how well that will work out. It feels like if stylistically Drunken Boy does stick to his Hellbat drops, that's going to favor Minigun's Colossus openings.
Alright, well, we're going to try it again, and hopefully this time around Minigun does not select the wrong race. That would be a little bit awkward, but we are rolling into this game right now. Also like to just point out, of course, we are using Virtual Jersey today, which is giving sponsorship information to everybody. The little logos that you see at the top of the screen are in fact the sponsor logos of the teams in this tournament. Always good to support those guys, and we just added on for FXO 300 APM. That's their sponsor there, so go and check them out. These are the guys that are making these teams actually happen. No sponsors equals no teams. So, and that's... Oh, well, great start. Yeah, it looks like we're losing a caster there, but hey, never mind. If he drops, we will continue. But yeah, that's the way that things work. Having just paid out a rather massive sum of money to get the Axiom players over to WCS NA, I could safely say sponsors are bloody needed.
Yes, they absolutely are, and it's great to have that up there. I don't know if any other tournament. I don't think any other tournament has done something like that for StarCraft. I think some of the MOBAs actually have like sponsor banners
Yes,
around
they
the
do.
well and stuff, and that is just absolutely great. That's what needs to be done because the sponsors are the basis of everything. The more love you can give to them, the better things will be.
Yeah, I could not agree more with that. I've got to actually give big props to Valve because it's Dota 2 specifically that does a lot of that, and way more so than any other tournament does. And Valve once again is really kind of innovating, even with their latest innovation for the International 3. They sell this virtual book which allows you to do all sorts of things like make predictions, and you get entered into prize draws for doing so, and you get full information on all the teams actually in the game. And part of that money goes to the prize pool. So the prize pool is now the biggest ever for any esports event in history. So hey, there you go. You know, anything that StarCraft 2 can do to
Oh,
be a little... Oh, please. Don't... Oh,
I
for the
got
love of
dropped.
God. Right. Okay, well... Oh, you got dropped as well?
Yes, I did.
Jesus. Okay.
The game probably went down then.
Yeah, well, the game is still running. I'm going to have to get an admin call on this. We might actually have to restart. Losing 3 casters is probably not a good idea. I'm gonna check. It's admin's call at the end of the day, one way or the other. So we'll see. I'm thinking we're gonna have to regame because losing the co-caster and both of the foreign language casters is probably a terrible thing. So we will be regaming for the 3rd time again, as BattleNet is playing some very strange games with us today, by the looks of it. Oh man. It's
And they actually had the right races and everything that time.
yeah,
Such a waste.
it was great. It's amazing. Incredible what we can manage when we put our minds to it. Oh, but there's actually something that's interesting about GameHeart that you were mentioning the sponsor ROI there earlier. GameHeart is actually working on putting sponsor logos into the map for the different teams as well. You've probably noticed that they managed to put in the team logos, which I think is a great addition. Some people don't like it for some reason. It's a bit strange. I think they think that kind of tarnishing the map with logos is a little bit weird, but I personally think it's great.
I think it's cute. I loved it back in Brood War. They would actually have there was a Pringles MSL, and they actually had
Yeah.
Pringles logos on every like bridge on the map. I thought that was really cute.
It's a good way of doing things, I feel. It also means that you don't waste a lot of screen space, because these are logos that can actually be put into play without blocking out areas of the UI, which is pretty important.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it doesn't interfere with gameplay and it's not too obtrusive, I see no reason not to do it. Like, it's just more attention for the sponsors.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, the sponsors are what make the world go round, so why would you not do that? I also feel that it's pretty important, and this is probably a criticism that I would level at WCS. I don't know if you agree with me there, that WCS seems to be de-emphasizing the importance of teams.
Yeah, they definitely are. It really feels like they're trying to go the way of the LCS and just take control of everything that they possibly can. So the more they shut down the other big entities in the scene, the better that goes for them. It's great what they're doing. They're putting a lot of money into the scene. They're kind of revitalizing it. Such an exciting tournament, particularly WCS EU. It actually gives us foreign StarCraft that's exciting to watch.
Yeah.
But it's really too bad. They definitely want to go the way of LCS and the stranglehold Riot has on all that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I just need to quickly run to the other room because the Axiom players are currently having problems with the airport. So I will be right back, folks, and we will be into this game. God damn it, I have too much on my plate. We'll be right back. Why? Of all the things, everything. Oh, come on! It just DC'd me. I don't believe it. Jesus. DC. You gotta laugh, because quite frankly, there's no other way of dealing with this.
It's laugh or cry, so.
Yeah. Alright, we will attempt for the 4th time to remake this game.
Are you sure you disconnected? It shows you in the lobby.
I'm not in the lobby.
I guess not.
I'm not in the lobby. Just letting people know that. Yeah, we believe there's some bug that involves when someone DCs from the game, when they unless they re-log in, there's some weird crap that goes on with them on Battle.net, and it breaks the whole connection thing, so...
I should probably relog them.
That would be good. Yeah, if you DC, then definitely. Yeah, that will be absolutely fantastic. We are really sorry about the downtime, folks. We are doing our best to minimize this, but this stuff is entirely outside of our control. It is wacky, it is weird, it is not what I would call wonderful. So we're going to be joining into this momentarily, and we will finally get this thing on the road.
The matches are just too good. We had to dilute the awesomeness with the downtimes.
Yeah, I've had to reduce the bitrate because it can't handle Fantastic of that magnitude, so it's... it's not great. For those wondering, by the way, you'll probably see a bit of a blurrier thing here, but I'm actually double recording at a higher bitrate for my local recording, which means that I should be able to upload higher quality VODs for you. I'm hoping it's okay for you guys. I like to put out a good quality stream when I can. I love to show 60 FPS because I think it's the best way to watch the game, but unfortunately, it's not happening today. The internet is not cooperating in any way, shape, or form. And of course, we are running super late, so big apologies to everyone, including Greg, of course, for having to bloody stick around all day for this.
Oh, my pleasure. At least we get to cast these games.
Yeah, they're good fun. They're good fun. And, I mean, that series between Kane and QXE was absolutely wild for all the kind of best reasons. I mean, I've got to say that there's a lot of credit, I feel, to be given to people that say it's best to watch the finest games, you know, to watch the most perfect games with the least mistakes by the best players. And that's why you watch something like Pro League or you watch something like GSL. But there is also something to be said for talented yet scrappy play from, say, North American players who can just give a good show.
Yeah, it sounds very strange, and I do personally prefer the highest skill of the Korean style games. But if you watch those games between Kane and QXC, honestly, a lot of the mistakes, a lot of the scrappiness is what made it so entertaining. Like, if Kane hadn't gone wholeheartedly into the attack in that Whirlwind game, we wouldn't have had that 4-kill Thor that was so entertaining.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have had those patches of mines. And cleaner play is obviously objectively better, but sometimes it's just not quite as fun to watch.
That's very, very true. So it's good that we do have this tournament where we can actually see that, and we will hopefully be eventually going into it. You know, we might see it sometime today. That would be wonderful. We're just getting everyone back into the lobby. It looks like we're solid. Everything looks good. The admin is definitely earning his pay today. That reminds me, we should probably pay the admin. Shit. Oh, well.
Get a tip jar for him, too.
Yeah. That will be pretty cool. We might set that up tomorrow, actually, for all of his hard work. See if we can get a couple of tips for the admin. But I think we're good, by the looks of it. Do we have everyone? Are we missing any casters? I really hope not. I obviously don't want to leave the foreign language guys out in the cold. That really, really sucks. Even if they're obviously the minority viewers, but it's really, really cool to see that we actually do have Spanish, Portuguese. We were hoping for more Central and South American players in this tournament, but unfortunately it didn't quite work out that way.
Yeah, unfortunately Juan Ghosty Terran started laddering after the ladder lock, so he couldn't get into GM, because he would have definitely made a splash. The other North American players, did Killer not play or what? Because he's usually up there as well.
Killer wasn't, as far as I could tell, Killer wasn't anywhere close to that top 16, actually, which is really strange. I kept a lookout for him on the ladder, and I just didn't see him anywhere. Could have been a similar position where he was laddering on another server and was then stuck outside of GM. So, one, we hope that we'll get a Season 2 of this, and secondly, we hope to give people a full month of laddering to actually compete.
Minigun says he's scared to touch anything.
Well,
I guess on the 5th try, yeah.
Yeah, 5th time lucky for Minigun. Don't break anything, Minigun. Make sure you pick Protoss. Yep. Things are looking good. Go. Let's make this work. Please. And here we are. It seems like only yesterday that we were seeing this map intro. God damn it. And here we are. Thank God. Here's hoping that it actually works. Alright, folks. Welcome to Akalon Wastes for the 17th time today. It is Root Minigun in the Red Trunks playing Protoss to the northwest versus his opponent. It is FXO Drunken Boy in the Blue Trunks playing Terran to the south. No. God damn it. No, he's
Oh,
okay.
back.
He's okay. He's okay. God,
Oh no. It's like a heart attack every time it glitches.
it really, really is as well. It's like, well, we keep
Seems to have
asking for LAN,
stabilized.
but apparently we don't need it. So
The
there you go.
technology is not there.
No, it is not. It is
We
not.
have resume for replay, so it doesn't matter if people disconnect because
Yeah.
we can just go back into the game.
Yeah, totally not. It's, the downtime's clearly not an important factor, and neither is the lag for pro players, so they're totally fine with that.
Makes it more exciting. It's like another challenge. It's like,
Yeah,
you know, you have to calibrate your control to the amount of lag you're experiencing.
indeed.
It's what really separates the good players from the great players.
You know, there's more truth to that than you actually make it out. I know it's a joke, but at the end of the day, you see a lot of players having to do just that, and as a direct result, there's some weird play styles for players that play on a lot of different servers and have to deal with lag. You'll often see the less micro-intensive play styles put to the side for use on their home server, and then these different builds that they'll use on, say, Korea or Europe.
Oh yeah, people massively underestimate the difference it makes. Like back in Brood War, when we finally got Icy Cup, which allowed foreigners to practice on low latency online, the jump in performance at lands was massive because no foreigners could really practice like that before, and so just a huge increase in skill, like very visible at the next WCG after that happened. It's just a night and day difference.
Yeah, it's just a shame we don't have that option anymore, isn't it?
Indeed, it is.
Yes, indeed. I'll never let it go, Blizzard. I'm never letting it go. I've told you about this before. Oh, well. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're going to be budging on that. Maybe when Legacy of the Void comes out and they stop selling copies of the game, maybe then we get it. Here's hoping that people are still interested in it by that point.
I would be surprised by that.
Indeed.
But from Drunken Boy, we actually see a Reaper opening. This
Yeah.
has become pretty much the standard TVP
Yeah.
in the last month or so. We're going to Reaper expansion, then just up to... well, then it can vary from there. He can go either a bunch of drop harass, he can go some kind of tech route, or he can just go Quake +1, then 3 barracks and into standard play from there. So as soon as this CC goes down, we're going to have to watch what its follow-up is. But that Reaper's just going to go in there and scout. It's going to see nothing too particular from Minigun. Minigun really seems to be a big fan of the Mothership Core expansion, which is a very nice solid build. We see 2 probes on each gas, so it seems likely that that will be the case.
Now, Drunken Boy also elected to scout with an SCV here as well. Why do you think that he would use an SCV when he has a Reaper?
I honestly don't know. He does the same thing TBZ when he opens up Reaper. He sends the SCV in anyway. It gets the same information, maybe about 15 seconds earlier. Makes 0 sense to me. We're going to have to ask him that if he makes it into another interview.
That would be
Because
nice.
it really seems nonsensical to me.
Yeah, it's weird. I've seen players do it when they're going like something funky like Double Reaper, or even when they're doing a proxy play, because you can use it to push units back, you can force the player to micro, you can even try and get a bunker down, but that's not what he does. Drunken Boy is going to pick himself up a probe here, which is always a nice little win, and he's going to play Kite the Zealot, which is a great game, fun for all the family, unless they happen to be Protoss, and now he gets pretty much all the information he could require before he is pushed away by that Stalker.
Yeah, that Reaper was actually massively profitable. Not only did he get a probe kill, he delayed the Nexus for another 150 minerals or so, which is a pretty big difference. He also gets all the scouting information he could want. So really paid off there. We see his command center going down, his factory coming down. Mothership Core actually out there to scout, so both players will play with full information on each other for at least some time.
Yep, and he managed to get into the base again, which really shouldn't have happened. He might be able to get himself another probe kill here. Now, he's pulling it back. Nice control here by Minigun, and the Reaper's days, I think, are numbered, but it's somehow going to get out again because he's a sneaky little bastard, and now is probably the time when he needs to consider a change in career.
Yeah, he really needs to keep that alive, because you need to keep that alive for at least another minute or two, and then suicide in once Protoss has chosen their tech.
Yeah.
We see that Minigun is putting up the Robobane and the other 2 gateways, so again, just totally standard. But now is the point where Drunken Boy really wants to go in there and see that, because if you don't keep the Reaper alive, if you do lose it early on, you can be caught off guard by any number of all-ins. But he should see this, see everything's totally standard, and he doesn't have to worry about anything.
Yep, gets out again as well, and nice positioning by Drunken Boy just to be able to grab in there and spot that robotics facility, then dart out before anything happens. So that Reaper has definitely been very useful indeed. So let's have a look at Drunken Boy's base, because what we are actually seeing is a starport on a tech lab here, as well as double marine production and a Raven coming out.
Yeah, that's kind of odd. Very quick Raven, also very quick engineering bay, so going to be going for an upgrade behind it.
Yep.
and adding more barracks now. So it looks like he'll be just transitioning into a normal game with that very quick Raven. I kind of like that. That's going to give it a lot of time to build up energy. It's going to probably have 2 spells available whenever he has to use it. It'll also allow him to run around shooting down observers. It's just a nice little additional utility to have early on when you know you don't need to invest those resources in a kind of defensive, immediately effective unit.
Yeah, it's nice, and I think that Raven usage has definitely got more popular in Heart of the Swarm thanks to the changes when it comes to its particular spells. Drunken Boy does need to sober up a little bit when it comes to his internet, I'm afraid. I'm hoping that doesn't affect him in the big fights there. Little barracks coming down here as well. Factory's not really being used for anything right now. There's actually a couple of add-ons lying around the place. There's another tech lab here, so I guess Drunken Boy's going to leap on that, and then he can start his stim or his combat shield. He's already kicked into his +1 here. There's a second Raven coming out.
Yeah, that's very strange. That one, I don't understand. Having one around for utility, you drop a couple of PDDs that protects your Vikings from the Stalkers. Maybe a couple of Hunter-Seeker missiles if there's a pack of units or something. But to have 2 of them seems like a really big gas expenditure. And gas isn't the biggest deal right now. The bigger deal is actually the starport time. He's not getting any medevacs. He's not getting any Vikings. He doesn't even have a reactor ready for the starport. And those are much more important than the Raven in generic, at least, TVP builds. So I'm not sure if he has something special planned out for this. He is capable of strange builds that no one will see coming, so can't write that off. But it does seem like a strange choice thus far.
It's very odd indeed. He surely will not build a third one. That would be very, very strange indeed. There's the swap around. So he's playing musical chairs with his barracks right now. He's going to put that one down on the tech lab. He then, or maybe not. There we go. Just getting that lined up. Yes, I often miss that. It's really, really annoying. But the starport is now going to be building double medevacs here. And these 2 Ravens, as you said, very, very odd, but they are denying observer coverage. If he was controlling that observer, he would have seen the 2 Ravens and thought, what on earth are you doing?
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's really... He better have something special in mind, because Minigun, on the other hand, is playing just absolute standard. He's going straight up to Colossus. And that means that the lack of Vikings, the lack of starport units, is really, really going to hurt. Because if you don't have at least like 3 or 4 Vikings per Colossus, you're kind of going to get obliterated unless he finds a way to make up for it with those Ravens. And just right off the bat, I'm not sure how he's going to do that.
No.
And he is now starting up Viking production, but that sticks him at 2 medevacs, which just limits him in so many ways. He can't drop rest. He doesn't have as much healing. I don't know. It's a very strange choice, but I'm very curious to see what he tries to do with it.
Yeah,
he will have 2 full mana Ravens when any kind of engagement happens, and that's quite a bit to work with.
Yeah, it is. If it's a Stalker heavy play, of course, and there is Blink coming in here as well, then he will be able to place down a significant number of point defense drones. Hunter Seeker, I definitely wouldn't call that a particularly useful thing, considering what he's up against there. It's a Stalker heavy army, which means that it's generally more spread out than a Zealot heavy army would be. So the Hunter Seekers are a fairly large expenditure of energy for very little gain in that situation. You definitely can't kill Colossus with them either. And as you said, there's like 2 Colossus. And is he pulling SCVs? He's pulling SCVs with it. Here they come. All right, well, the engagement is coming in right now. We're going to see how useful these Ravens are. That Colossus was caught completely out of position. The PDD's in play, and oh, look, it's a Stalker-heavy army that can't shoot. That's not very useful, but that single Colossus is doing work, and it's not dying very quickly either. Raven now taken out. Bit of miscontrol there by Drunken Boy. He loses both of the Ravens in the process, and as entertaining as this was, I'm not entirely convinced by it.
Yeah, and he actually moved his army back into the time stops. Oh, and a really nice move by Minigun. No medevacs to ferry it up there, so he actually runs up in. But he's going to get caught again on the way out, and this really weird composition by Drunken Boy is going to work. He's caught all the units, he's killed everything for the cost of the 2 Ravens, but not much else.
Yeah, it's really, really nice, isn't it? It's so strange, but I guess if... Oh, and Minigun just GG's immediately. Yeah.
That was so weird.
That was just bizarre, and we can go through it step by step and figure out exactly how it happened. The first biggest thing I'd like to point out is the fact that there was that second Colossus was actually caught away from the rest of the army.
Yeah, and that actually turned out kind of working in Minigun's favor. He lost a lot of that DPS, but he actually pulled off a big chunk of the army, but then he wasn't able to capitalize on it. He wasn't able to kill the segmented portion. And so it just ended up being 1 Colossus instead of 2 Colossus. And then he also lost the pylon, including the four warp winds he had going at the time. So he had no reinforcements, and just a much smaller army than it was supposed to. But overall, the timing, just everything about Minigun's play was quite weird. I think what happened is he saw the 2 Ravens. He was like, I was going Colossus anyway. He's going to have less Vikings. This is a counter situation for me. I should go take advantage of that. But but at the same time, he didn't think about the fact that with a Colossus build, he's going to be very stalker heavy. And
Yeah.
as you said, PDDs, stalkers
Shut that
can't
down.
shoot.
Yeah, well, it was weird to see, because usually if you see the Colossus in play, you see melting bio. It wasn't melting. It was pretty Marauder heavy, which was great. And it was also a situation where with the point defense drones down, the only thing that was shooting was that one Colossus, which actually is not that great, especially if you happen to be well positioned. And it was a nice move by Minigun to kind of blink away and use the cliff walking ability of the Colossus. But at that point, Drunken Boy's saying to himself, all right, time to really get in there and actually do some damage. And it worked out beautifully for him. It was a strange build, very much, I think, a researched build.
It definitely seemed like it. He either got very lucky or it was very researched, and he knew that Minigun always opens up with those quick 2-base Colossus and then a lot of Stalker support and then transitions out of it. Because, like you said, very Marauder heavy. Marauder heavy, obviously better against the Colossus and against the Stalkers.
Yep.
Not a whole ton of Marines for the Colossus to shoot down. And then, of course, the Raven opening. I'm not sure if he actually has a way more knowledge than we do of him and knew that he would make that kind of attack. Because all the PvTs I've seen of Minigun, he's played much more conservatively early on. And I don't know if that would have worked quite as well for Drunken Boy. But that attack just played right into Drunken Boy's hands.
It was slick, and it's nice to see a little bit of a new build there. That is something I've not seen before. And it seemed to work in that very specific scenario quite nicely. Really, really cool to see the Ravens actually out. We're just going to get you into the game lobby, and we'll be going to Game 2 momentarily here. It's going to be on Belshire Vestige. This is, of course, Minigun's choice.
Yeah, I would be very surprised to see a similar build out of Drunken Boy. That doesn't seem like something that's going to be a every game go-to, but after something that creative and weird and effective, I'd be really curious to see what else he has cooked up for this, and if Minigun stays with his tried and true, or if he's going to try and shake things up too.
Yeah, that was... I'm just so glad to have seen that. That was really cool.
I really like Ravens just because the Science Vessel is my favorite unit in Brood War, and then Raven's kind of the replacement for it. And
Will is a minigun again, aren't we? God
yeah,
damn
we
it.
are.
Yeah. All right. Well, the admin's just like, fuck this, I'm out. All right, we're going to take a quick break, folks, while we attempt to set this lobby up again. We are having some ridiculous BattleNet issues today. We'll be right back.